It's been a long time since we really heard anything about an addition or continuation of the Guitar Hero franchise, a franchise that was so popular. I mean, if you think about it, it was really popular along with other games that came out after it, like Rock Band and, just a lot of these games that really were entertaining and were kind of games that they were really like party games, right? Where we would play them with like our friends, and when there's big get-togethers, you play some Guitar Hero, and it was a lot of fun. Well, what happened to Guitar Hero, a franchise and a series of games that had so much popularity and then all of a sudden just disappeared out of nowhere? So let's talk about it. The decline in the hiatus of Guitar Hero went from about 2009 to 2015. The results of the expanded offerings did not contribute well to the series alongside the late 2000s recession. Sales of most rhythm games, including Guitar Hero and DJ Hero, did not meet expectations, falling about 50% short of projected targets. Activision announced it would be cutting back to only 10 SKUs within 2010 instead of the 25 in 2009. Though Red Octane and Neversoft continued to develop the sixth main game, which was Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock, until its completion, both studios were later shuttered by Activision, moving key personnel into Activision directly for future game development, and in the case of Neversoft, closing its Guitar Hero division, while transferring future development duties for the series to Vicarious Visions, another Activision studio which had been fundamental in building the Wii and Nintendo DS versions of the games. In November 2010, Activision also closed Budcat Creations, the arm of the publisher that was primarily responsible for porting the Guitar Hero games to the PlayStation 2. Ahead of Activision's 2010 fourth quarter financial report in February of 2011, Activision disbanded its Guitar Hero business unit and announced that it would cease development of the planned 2011 Guitar Hero game. Activision cited continued declines in the music genre to explain its decision. The closure also affected the DJ Hero series, as Activision stated that there were no plans to publish a music game during 2011. Activision's vice president, Dan Winters, later clarified that the company was just putting Guitar Hero on hiatus and that they were just not making a new game for next year. That's all. But in a July 2011 interview with Forbes, Kotick stated that while the publisher was going to stop selling Guitar Hero altogether, they were going to go back to the studios and were going to use new studios and reinvent the series. But a former team member of Vicarious Vision stated that as of 2012, all development of Guitar Hero had come to an end within Activision. Another source close to Vicarious Visions had reported to Kotaku that while Guitar Hero 7 was in development under an Activision studio, the game was considered a disaster. The canceled game omitted the additional instruments and used only a guitar peripheral, redesigning the unit to include a 6-button mechanism replacing the strum bar. The resulting unit was considered too expensive to manufacture and purchase. The developers had also started the game development from scratch to try to create new characters and venues that would be more reactive to the actual songs being played to give the feel of a music video, but ultimately this proved too much of a challenge and had to be scrapped. Further, with a limited budget, the song selection was limited to a low-budget hits of the 1990s, or at times reusing songs that had previously been included in Guitar Hero games. Though the team had a 2-year development cycle, it was closed down after Activision president Eric Hirshberg had seen the current state of the project at the 1-year point. So look, guys, it was a disaster. Ultimately ended in disaster, Guitar Hero. And it's really sad. Here's the thing, is I think a lot of people compare Guitar Hero to Call of Duty. People think, oh, Call of Duty comes out every single year. It's going to, end up, what's going to happen to Call of Duty is what happened to Guitar Hero. Is it just a decline over time? I think there were a number of things that really went wrong for Guitar Hero. Number one was during the recession of 2008 to 2009, really 2007 to 2009. Then the ripple effects of that kind of continued onwards. But Guitar Hero was a very popular game, but I think the aggressiveness that Activision took with Guitar Hero, like they do with Call of Duty, two completely different types of games. Guitar Hero really should have been one of those games that would come out like they would have a Guitar Hero and pretty much it just gets updated over time. Maybe they make a second one and a third one over time, but certainly not a series that should be made every single year like Call of Duty. Activision learned their lesson with this, obviously, but it was just ended up really an utter disaster. Another potential Guitar Hero project was discovered by the archival site Unseen64 for a game titled Hero World, a massively multiplayer online game that would link the Guitar and DJ Hero games. The game had been developed by Freestyle Games sometime after the release of DJ Hero 2, with the main development duties passed to Virtual Fairground using their platform, The Ride, an Adobe Flash-based platform that would let the game be played in a web browser. The game was canceled in 2011 along with other pending Guitar Hero projects. No further downloadable content for either Guitar Hero or DJ Hero was made after February 2011, though Activision committed to releasing content that was already in development by that time due to fan response. Later, in a move described by Game Informer as the final nail in the coffin, Activision announced it would discontinue all DLC sales for the series without revoking access to tracks already bought as of March 31st, 2014. Though Activision had moved away from the Guitar Hero series, the lessons learned helped them and developer Toys for Bob to handle the manufacturing and outsourcing issues that came with the highly successful Skylanders toy and video game franchise. So just utterly, a massive disaster, guys, when we talk about Guitar Hero and what happened. It just felt like such a disservice because this was a series that was really entertaining. I feel the same way about Rock Band. I felt like these games, they were popular for a time, but then all of a sudden, I just feel that a lot of times with video games, a lot of things are kind of cyclical, right? So like right now, what's popular? Like Battle Royale, some of the shooters are still popular. Massive, online multiplayer games are really popular. But at some point or another, I believe that this is like a series, Guitar Hero, that would become popular at some point in gaming history. So if I were Activision, I would think about selling the IP. That would just be, my personal take on it. Now, as far as Guitar Hero Live's Guitar Hero TV was shut down. According to Owen Good of Polygon, Guitar Hero Live streaming music service Guitar Hero TV will close down in December, effectively cutting the game's accessible library to just 42 songs. When it launched in October 2015, Guitar Hero TV eschewed paid downloadable content to expand the game's song library, where songs were made free in a rotation, although some were also accessible through microtransactions. The trade-off is that the song catalog, which Ars Technica notes stands at 484, would only be available as long as Activision supported. Apparently, the end of their licensing agreements comes in December, so out goes it all. And this article was obviously written in 2018, guys, so a couple of years ago. Just really unfortunate, guys. In all, Guitar Hero, I feel was done a disservice by having a new game almost every year, like a Call of Duty title. They treated Guitar Hero. Look, Activision isn't perfect, but I believe that they actually get a lot more, they catch a lot more flack than I think that they deserve. But this is one of those games that I feel that they just overextended that, and they were just an oversaturation of these games, without a doubt, is what ultimately ended this thing. Guitar Hero Live launched on October 20, 2015 on PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Wii U, Xbox 360, and Xbox One. Our review scored the game a 9 and praised Guitar Hero TV, saying there's so much room for discovery just by channel surfing the service. Guitar Hero Live, along with Rock Band 4, briefly rekindled the music gaming genre on the current console generation after going dormant for the 5 years following Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock 2010 release. And so, and then of course, if we look at what ended up, happening here, guys, all in all, right, there was significant cultural impact when it came to the rock band, but also, Guitar Hero. All in all, the big issue here was oversaturation. And what I'll say is, okay, there's a timeline, right, of the North American releases for Guitar Hero from 2005 to 2011. You had, in 2005, you had Guitar Hero, right? Guitar Hero 2 came out 2006. And then 2008, you had Rock of the 80s, Legends of Rock in 2007. And then you had in 2008, On Tour Aerosmith, On Tour Decades World Tour. And then, or you had On Tour, Decades World Tour. And then in 2009, you have DJ Hero 5, Smash Hits, On Tour Modern Hits Metallica, Van Halen Band Hero. I mean, just the amount of oversaturation in 2009 had to have been the utter, just complete collapse of this franchise. You're trying to push out so much in a time of recession. It's just unsustainable. Many critics believe that the number of releases of Guitar Hero games was milking the brand and oversaturating the market. Parappa the Rapper creator Masaya Matsuura stated that the video game market was growing stale and needed to move beyond games that simply challenged the player to mimic the playing of licensed music. Ryan Geddes of IGN stated that he hit the wall with playing along music games and challenged the game makers to explore other ways to combine music and video games. Analysts stated that such games must continue to innovate instead of just providing more songs in order to prevent genre fatigue. Jesse Divnich of Electronic Entertainment and Design Research commented that, much like Dance Dance Revolution, Guitar Hero and other music games explosively grew initially due to significant new features from other games, but have become stagnant due to focusing on content over features, and suggested that for the genre to continue to grow, they must look to incremental changes as done with the first-person shooter genre. Former CEO of Red Octane, Kelly Sumner, believed that Activision abused the series as they tried to get too much out of the franchise too quickly, and I would agree with that. They did. They tried to get too much out of it too quickly. This would be like Call of Duty coming out with multiple games in a matter of a year. One a year is almost too much. But really, they do such a good job with Call of Duty that, have multiple development teams on it. And that's what kind of helps Call of Duty, is it's pretty much fresh every single year, even though the core of it kind of stays the same. But with this, it's pretty much rinse and repeat with Guitar Hero. And, when you have so many titles coming out in 1 year, a year that's within recession, it's kind of bad. But any year would be bad, really, for that. The series has also been criticized for its release model in contrast to the Rock Band series, causing some players to hold contempt towards Activision. Harmonix considered the Rock Band series as a music platform and supported it with downloadable content and the ability to import songs from its games and expansions into most other games of the series. Critics argue that Guitar Hero would have been doing the same either through releasing expansions that could be incorporated in the main games of the series or by issuing the songs as downloadable content. The release of Guitar Hero Smash Hits, reworking older songs from the series to full 4 instrument band support for otherwise adding to additional material, was called the definition of milking by reviewers, with no observable technical limitation as to why the songs could not be added as downloadable content. So I do think it really was the definition of milking. However, what I am going to say about this is that Guitar Hero as a franchise, I think it's one of those franchises that should have come out, once every 5 years at least, if not, even longer than that. Doing downloadable content and things of that nature, adding new songs, I think would be great. But I do believe, guys, that there still is something here. Even though it was milked for so long and people have a sour taste in their mouth after all these years with, Activision. Activision is still, obviously Activision, they get a lot of flack because of some of the decisions that they make, but they also own some of the biggest IPs in the world. And look, they are the biggest game development company on earth. They're the biggest publisher on earth, right? And so when you look at that, it's like, of course they're going to get more flack than other people because they're the biggest. But at the same time, this was an issue. And this is what happened to Guitar Hero at this point. Will they ever make another one? I would think that if Activision doesn't want anything to do with it anymore, sell the IP so that they can come back at some point or another and can have some fresh set of eyes, some fresh set of just talent based around this franchise. And I think people or developers and other publishers would jump on the opportunity to buy IP like Guitar Hero. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that they would. The large number of Guitar Hero and Rock Band titles on the market is considered to be partially responsible for the sharp decline of music game sales in the latter half of 2009, along with the effects of the late 2000s recession. The market of rhythm games was $1.4 billion in 2008, but dropped to $700 million, a 50% decrease in 2009, even though more titles were available that year. Former Neverstop project director Brian Bright noted that at one point in 2009, they were responsible for the release of 3 games that year, Guitar Hero 5, Metallica, and Band Hero, and supporting other studios for the development of 2 additional games, causing the studio to lose focus both in development and marketing efforts. So all in all, guys, when you have a niche kind of game like Guitar Hero that is basically kind of like a party game, right? Similar to that of Rock Band and all those other games, right, that came out around this time. Not saying that it shouldn't be a popular series, because it should be. It should have its place in the gaming ecosystem. But when it's done in the way that Activision did it, it just isn't going to work out. It's just not. I mean, obviously, it's just unsustainable. And oversaturation is what killed pretty much all these games. But it's like, look, if there's definitely room for improvement, but there's also room for these to exist and coexist in gaming now. All in all, it remains to be seen if we're going to see continuations of Guitar Hero, Rock Band, and games of that nature, or if we're going to see completely new IPs moving forward, which might be something that a lot of developers are kind of thinking about doing at some point. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What do you guys think really happened to Guitar Hero and its demise? And do you think Guitar Hero will at some point make a comeback? Let me know what you guys think. And for more Guitar Hero content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.